And then we're just testing the
testing.
background noise. Nancy, talk.
Hello, I'm going to see, can you hear anything that's going on behind me? There's some cars, there's situation.
Okay, and I'm just going to test our spiritual girls in a material world where we celebrate the ability to speak and enunciate clearly. And where we celebrate, not celibate, celebrate the bling, the ka-ching, and the metaphysical in everything.
Everything.
And that's our thing for now. Bam, done. Welcome to Spiritual Girls in a Material World, where we celebrate the bling, the ka-ching, and the mystical, magical, beautiful in everything, especially the things that end in ing.
Yeah.
Okay. So today we're going to talk about, we don't know what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the wild card.
It's the wild card.
Woo! And we by wild, we mean like, huh? And by card, we mean we're actually going to pull a card and see what that means and what that brings up. So I have a new deck I'm working on. Some of you may already know about the Dream Oracle card deck that looks like this.
It's beautiful, beautiful. And the artist, Rasuli, did the beautiful imagery and turned it around so they could see those gorgeous, gorgeous pictures. So pretty. So pretty. And the beautiful thing is she's doing another deck, a little bit of a different theme behind it, sort of connected but different. She'll explain it, but it's still the paintings done by Rasuli. So yay.
So yay. And it's like I tell people, it's like carrying around a little Rasuli exhibit with
portfolio.
you. Yeah, like a whole portfolio.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So this new deck is called the Hero's Journey Dream Oracle deck. So it blends dream symbols that relate to the 12 stages of the hero's journey.
And if somebody said, without telling us all the 12 stages and without going into detail, just like boom, what's the hero's journey?
The hero's journey is a story that we've been telling since the beginning of time, and it basically explains the arc of what happens to an ordinary person that says yes to a higher calling. It outlines the predictable trials, the road of trials that are par for the course when you say yes to a noble calling. And it's the people that you'll meet, it's the situations that you'll encounter. And then inevitably, if you stick with it, there's a reward. And the reward isn't the end, because it's all about what you do with the wisdom that you learn and earn. The final stage is returning with the elixir. And an elixir is a metaphor for wisdom that changes lives, or it can actually be a something. It can be that you actually discover gold, or you discover the wheel, or you discover the source of water, or you discover the great new idea that's going to revolutionize humanity and bring it to the 2.0 or 3.0. So it can be a tangible thing. It can be an inner wisdom that you bring home to share. And that's the basic idea. There's 4 stages: the call, the quest, the reward, and the return. But within those 4, you can expand them into 12 stages, and like I have done. I'm good at expanding things and then expanding even more, and then correlating them with predictable dream symbols that kind of are telltale signs that give you a nudge about what stage of the journey you're in and how to interpret the stage that you're in, how to interpret the dream that you're having, to give it more nobility. For example, somebody just shared with me last night, I was on a radio show out of Minneapolis. And they said, I keep having dreams that I'm overwhelmed by something, that I'm in water and it's too much, I can't breathe. I'm like, belly of the whale. You're over your head, you're feeling engulfed. But the belly of the whale is a super important stage. It's kind of like when you realize you can run, but you can't hide from your emotions or the things that you thought were so bad. You're kind of forced to deal with them, that's usually when you begin the process of finding your strength and finding that, yeah, you can deal with this. And guess what? You are dealing with this. And guess what? The wisdom is coming in as we speak. And just when you get nice and cozy and accepting with the belly of the whale, it's time for the whale to spout you out. And then you're on the process, part of the process of getting to your reward. Try saying that 10 times fast. The reward. If you're Elmer Fudd, it's reward.
Reward.
Reward. So Nancy's going to pick a card for us. Or did you want to comment on what I just said?
There was just one thing I was going to say, and that is that every time Kelly and I take a journey together, typically it's not just your average, we're not just going to the beach, right? We're doing something, and it's usually involves something kind of magnanimous. We're like, oh my gosh, how are we going to make this work? How are we going to make this happen? There's all sorts of little bits and pieces and parts, and we have to put it all together and then create magic of some sort. And she's really good about saying, oh, well, of course, that's the resistance, or that's this moment, or that's this moment. And it's always part of this hero's journey. So anytime you're doing some sort of undertaking, you're on this journey. And remember, when they say they call it an arc, think about it, springs a leak every now and then. Arcs do that. So that's the point. When you're like, are you kidding? I'm doing this amazing thing. It should be smooth. Oh, but it's not. But you miss your plane, or something happens, or someone gets sick, or just many. I always get these little. And she's always like, "That's part of the journey."
Right.
And so, and now
you should be suspicious if everything goes completely perfectly smoothly.
Yeah.
You should be like, maybe this ain't right.
Yeah.
And Lola is taking a back space. She's photobombing me. You ever feel like you've got a little Lola over your shoulder?
Well, is she the angel or the devil?
I don't know. She's a little bit of both, but she's so cute. I love my Lola. Oh, by the way, did we mention that this episode is also sponsored by Starbucks? They don't know that yet, but they will. Because spiritual girls in a material world, this is a percolating conversation. Here, we're percolating, and we're trying to get you to percolate too, so we can all percolate together.
I hear you.
Girls that percolate together stay together. Okay, so Nancy, why don't you pull a card out of this? This is a prototype deck, by the way. This isn't. This is like how the stages unfold. Like I would first write it all out, and it's all big and funky.
You get to see the behind the scenes. See, before she made those other cards, she had these big cards too. And then she picked these gorgeous paintings, and then she decided what was going to be written. And then her editor says, edit that down or change it. And then she does that. And okay.
This is what the cover will look like, though.
I love that.
Because this is the first card, the call to adventure. This is what the deck cover is going to look like.
Isn't that so pretty?
It's
so I'm asking the audience, like, go ahead. So when at this point where I say, isn't that so pretty? Write in the comments, yes. If you could.
I know that woman. I am that woman. I want to be that woman. Who is that woman? Right.
Gorgeous, I tell you.
Gorgeous, I tell you.
So
okay. So Nancy,
I'm gonna pick.
I'm gonna flip through these cards, and you're just gonna say stop when you feel moved. And this is gonna be a little mini card reading for you and for you who is watching and or listening.
This is going to be a message you need to hear. That's how this works.
Because guess what? You are a hero on a hero's journey, or maybe you're a shero on a shero's journey, depending. And how do you know that you are? Because you're here, because you're alive. And there's so many different variations of the hero's journey. And you can have them in mini micro snack form, or it can be the long one that is like your whole life. But consider that this is a message to help give you a little spark, a little to help prod you along on your way. All right,
to
Nancy.
The heroes, the sheroes, and the theyros.
And don't forget the pharaohs.
No, well, the theyros are the one. They is non-binary.
All right,
so
that's
covering
great.
it all.
All right, Nancy. Ready? I'm starting to flip.
Oh crap.
Want me to do that one, or should I keep going?
Do it again.
Okay, ready? Here we go. Drum roll, please.
Stop.
Okay.
Okay, I'm drunk with power, I tell you.
Okay, well, see, it's a little bit of a tricky thing because I have the call that I already showed you. I I have this in the deck twice because I made the cover image, and so you picked the call to adventure.
Which is great, because if you were ever wanting to learn about the hero's journey, that's the very first thing you need to know about.
It's card number one. It's how it
card
all
number one.
begins.
It's
I'm gonna
all
read
you
this
have
to
the call.
putting this image here. So here's the little inspirational quote. And the day came when the wish to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. Anais Nin. Okay. The message. There's a message, meaning, and mantra, says the peanut gallery back here.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. No, pay attention.
Don't pay attention. Okay, the message is, what is your true calling in life? What is life's dream for you to be, do, create, explore? What are the gifts, unique gifts that you've been given? What is the unique niche that only you can inhabit, or niche, as they say in France?
Oui. C'est vrai.
C'est vrai. What situations bring out your bliss? What do you typically get complimented on, but shrug off because it comes so naturally it doesn't feel like a big deal?
What
shoes?
Shoes?
Your shoes?
What shoes? I don't even know. Maybe that's what they're talking about.
Okay.
Go on.
So these, not the shoes question, but the other questions are important questions to ask upon your quest in order to be in sync with what Aristotle called your entelechy. Your entelechy is the great one-of-a-kind potential with which you have been encoded to bring forth the blessing to this world that only you can. Aristotle also said that entelechy is when the soul is actualized in the body. This is why dreams are so important, because they speak the language of soul. They are your compass, always pointing you in the right direction, course correcting should you find yourself off course, and letting you know, sometimes loudly, hello, when you've fallen asleep and need to wake up.
For gosh sakes.
Meaning, in a dream, if you hear your name in a dream, dreams of hearing your name reflect that your entelechy and or higher self is trying to get your attention, trying to communicate something important to you. You are being called, alerted to next steps upon your path, or to wake up and caution you that you may be straying. Your mantra is, today I wake up so that everything I do, whether in dreams or awake, is a baby step or quantum leap in the direction of expressing my entelechy in the world.
Well.
And can you hear the rain? The rain is a pouring down. Can you hear her?
No.
In the Amazon, they would call this woman rain. They say that man rain is when it's light, sparse rain, but when it's like coming down hard, it's woman rain. So we've got woman rain going on right now.
Oh, we have woman rain about 6 months out of the year here. I love it.
Dana wrote a beautiful song called Woman Rain. It's on the Song of the Pink Dolphins on the Laurel Canyon Animal Company. Anyway, it's so beautiful. Sung by Donna DeLore. Ooh, I'm going to put it on after we're done.
Oh, Daniela, she should, when you're watching this video, go ahead and throw that in the background for us. Will you?
Yeah.
Can you send her that link? Send her that link.
I'm going to.
Or we could at least put it in the comments so people can
I'm going
listen to it.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes. At least because there's a little sound. You can listen to a sample of it on the
Producing live.
Yeah. So, yeah, I like that. Why not? Everything is live. We're all transparent.
We're just right here. It's out here.
The behind the scenes is the in front of the scenes. Okay, so what did the call bring up to you? The keynote being, honor the whispering of your soul. And if you don't honor the whispering, it's going to get loud.
Yeah. It just reminded me of when you find your soul's purpose and how good it feels and how right it feels. And there's so many moments that we experience where we go with it and you have no questions as to whether or not, we were talking about this the other day on the phone. We have no questions as to whether or not what you're doing or saying is right because you feel divinely guided. And that could be guided by God, by the universe, by vibes and energy by whatever you imagine. I'm not trying to tell anyone what it is.
Right.
But you feel guided as though you're being carried along to your divine purpose. And in those moments, it just is so, to steal your word, magical. It's just
yeah.
so.
I own that word. You have to pay me $1 every time you use it, or anytime anybody uses it. It's just I own magical.
Could I just give you some oyster crackers?
Okay, one oyster cracker every time you use magical. I think it was Oprah Winfrey I heard say, and this is not the exact quote, but it was something like, life is challenging no matter what, whether you're on track or off track. There's challenges that come even when you're on track, but they're a higher quality challenge. So even while you're challenged with those things, there's something that feels good about them that makes it worth it. And in Spanish, they would say vale la pena. That makes it worth the pain.
Oh, yeah.
Vale la pena.
But
then when you're off track, it's kind of like you're not doing your dream, and you're still not, it's still struggly, and it's not feeling like it's getting you somewhere. Jim Carrey, there's a great movie, so we'll plug this. There was a great movie that just came out called Jim and Andy.
I saw it.
Did you see that? Wasn't that great?
Oh, I just got the chills.
Oh,
yeah. Oh my gosh. That whole, because when that first movie, The Man on the Moon, came out, I was so annoyed. I had no idea. My only knowledge of Andy Kaufman was when he was Laka on Taxi. And
I know, mine too.
I loved him so much. I thought he was so adorable. So when I found out that in some ways he was kind of a jerk,
right,
I was like, I was heartbroken, and I really disliked that movie. I just couldn't stand it, because I was like, I just don't like him, and I didn't even believe he was dead, and he's always making things up, and I was disturbed. Like that. But this movie, Jim and Andy, wow, him embodying Andy to this, he was channeling him. And it wasn't Jim Kaufman at all. When you find that out, gosh, what a story. What a,
incredible.
How did it hit you?
It hit me on so many different levels, but one, I think what reminded me of what we were just talking about the call to adventure, Jim Carrey talks about his father having been like the funniest guy he knew, like like a born comedian, a born showman, and how in order to support the family, he gave up his dreams of showbiz, and he was a salesman, and he sold cars, or I don't know exactly what he did, but there was a point where that didn't pan out. And then his father, I think he died pretty young, and and Jim Carrey's, like, the legacy that he got from his father was, it might pan out, it might not, but you got to at least be doing something towards your dream. You can't give up on your dream. Even if it doesn't work out, you've got to be doing that, because even if you sell out and you don't do it, there's no guarantee that that's even going to work out. So you can follow your calling, and you're going to have some challenges, and you cannot follow your calling and you're still going to have challenges, and they're not going to be the high quality ones. So it's like the high quality challenges versus the pinche ones. So that was one of the things I got from that. I loved it. Highly recommend.
When you talk about that, I think immediately, not to be contrary, but I think immediately of people who may not know their calling, who don't have that. I know what would make my heart sing. I know there are a few things that would just, so I work to do those things anyway.
Right.
But there are some people just lost. They don't have that.
This is good.
Just the other day, I asked somebody, I said, if you couldn't do this job, because they don't like their job, but they do it. I said, if you couldn't do this job, what would you do? And I said, just forget, this is how much it costs to get the education for it, or this is how much I'd make. Imagine that whatever it is that you decide you could do, you would be allowed to, and it would provide you with the money you need. What would it be? and they thought for a second and said, a truck driver.
You can do that.
Right. But I said,
that's not
okay.
like being a man on the moon.
But I was like, because I imagined that's how my brain thinks. I want to be a waitress on Mars. No, that would be tough to do.
Right.
I'm saying with no holds barred, you'd be a trucker. And it was like, yeah, because I don't like to interact with people. I could be on the road. I could be with my thoughts. I'm like, well, then go do it. I mean, I don't think you're doing it right. I think the question I asked you didn't answer.
No, but I think they may have done it because some people, the answer is so simple. And for whatever reason, they think they can't do it. And it might be just one step to the left of where they're at. And they'll find joy in that. Living your dreams doesn't have to mean that you're a movie star or a rock star.
Right. But I don't think that that's truly that person's dream.
Maybe it would get them closer.
It's just a thing where it'd be like, I'd like to do a job where I don't have to worry about people being around is what was the point of it was that he loves to drive. It wasn't that he loves, the idea of seeing the countryside. It wasn't any of that. It was just that, hey, then I wouldn't have to worry about people bugging me. But when you said that right away, I thought about, there's a person that doesn't really have a dream because if you can't even pretend like just no holds barred,
then
if you ever
forget
said
about
that, if you got $1 million, what would you spend it on? They go, I would buy a Lamborghini, or whatever.
Right.
He didn't have that piece.
I think a lot of people, you speak probably, this might touch a lot of people. I think it's probably less common to have a dream that you're driven to and that you're moving toward. I think it's more common to be, and it's not noble to be living a life where you're paying your bills and if you're keeping a roof over your head and providing for your children.
And kids,
I mean, that's noble in and of itself.
100%. And just
100%.
Finding something you're able to do. So therefore you do it because that will keep the stability going. That'll keep your bills paid. It's responsible. Yeah.
Right. And here's a quote that I love that I think will tie this up and at least just give us more to chew on because I think this is already running a little long. Not that we're opposed to that, but here's the quote. And I don't know who said it. It's don't do what the world needs. Do what lights you up because the world needs people who are lit up.
Oh, okay. I'm going to look it up.
Okay. So I think on that note, instead of what's your dream, that might be too daunting. How about what lights you up? And maybe
what lights you up?
In this moment, you don't know what lights you up, but maybe you'll notice it when it happens. Maybe you'll find yourself in a movie and you'll see lilacs and it's like, oh, lilacs light me up. Or you see somebody wearing a purple pair of shoes and you're like, purple shoes, that lights me up. Or Nancy likes that. That lights Nancy already. You can see that. Or maybe you get a hug. Like every time Dana hugs me, I just stop and I melt and I go, oh my God, this is so amazing. So I might not think hugs from my husband light me up, but maybe they melt me. It's like what melts you? What makes you go, oh, life is so worth living? My friend Gypsy and I used to say, there's proof of God. Like this sandwich, this cheese sandwich, proof of God. So maybe it's about just keeping track of your proof of God list or what lights you up list or what makes you melt list or the things that make you happy and then fitting as many of those in your day or your life as possible. Maybe that'll move you closer to what was read in the card about what Aristotle talked about, your entelechy. I think when we light up, it's like our soul is saying, bing, 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 you're on track.
That's
like
it.
You're following your GPS, purple shoes, talk to that person, ask them where they got it. That's going to lead you to the next breadcrumb, to the next thing, to the next thing.
So, that's a great, when we wrap up with the purple shoe, I mean, I can't fight that. We want to thank you for watching as always, because we are spiritual girls in a material world. And if you want to learn more about us, you can go to kellysullivanwalden.com. Don't you love that name? Kelly Sullivan Walden.
It's just so few syllables.
It just sounds very important. Or you can go to nancytellstherrow.com.
That also sounds important. And it
sounds
is.
like something. And we have Facebook pages, and that's Kelly Sullivan Walden, Doctor spelled out Dream. Not the word spelled out, but actually the word doctor spelled out, Dream. And A to Z with Meryl and me. That's my page. So we want to thank you and namaste. Let's go.